A good day to all of you who are watching the program agenda. Welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. And it's a special day for many, especially for our chairman, our boss, none other than Manuel V. Pangilinan or MVP. Happy birthday, Sir MVP. May God bless you with good health, with greater wisdom, greater peace, and blessings. Okay, today is July 14, 2022. It's a Thursday, and let's get on with our program for today's Daily Starter. Let's read our word of wisdom. Sometimes God will slow you down so that the evil ahead of you will pass before you get there. Your delay could mean your protection. He is a good God. Amen. Okay, while reading this daily starter, I was reminded of one particular trip that my wife and I and daughter took to Baguio many years ago. And it was very early in the morning ba? Gabi na yata yun, medyo madilim. It was quite dark, I remember. Yeah, I think it was in the evening. And it was quite dark. And out of nowhere, this rock just smashes onto the roof of our vehicle. And it turned out that there were several cars also who were victimized by those falling rocks. It turns out also they weren't just falling rocks. It seems that some drunk guy up along the Cannon Road was picking on cars and throwing rocks. Now, some of us would say, wow, ang swerte mo. But I believe in that saying today that sometimes the Lord delays us so that it is meant to protect us. Kumbaga, iniiwas lang tayo sa perwisyo, sa panganib, or sa danger. So please bear that in mind. If for any reason there is delay in your work, delay in your project. Oh, and I remember a time when we actually decided not to take a flight because of the schedule, blah, blah, blah. And we actually lived to tell the story. Okay, hindi ko na po bibigyan ng detalye. Many of us complain about delays, missing flights, about missing opportunities, blah, blah, blah. But God often delays things that can be untimely. It can cause hurt, danger. So magpasalamat po kayo that you still have chances, you still have second chances. Don't focus too much on the delay. Okay, now let's go to our front page for the Philippine Star today, July 14, 2022. And the headline is Government to Right Size Cut Jobs. Okay, doon po sa hindi naintindihan yung right size or are wondering what the real meaning is, the proposal of the new incoming DBM Secretary Pangandaman ba yun? Okay, Pangandaman, Amina Pangandaman, is for the executive department or the administration to downsize government, or in their words, right size. Parang to put a positive spin to it because, in their words, there are too many employees and quite a number of unnecessary government offices. So, in short, if the bill that they are giving to Congress passes and the right-sizing program is implemented, approximately 2 million government employees will be out of a job. And I don't know how many government offices will be shut down or cut in half because even the DBM and the government don't know exactly the information. And yun na nga po ang sinabi ko doon sa isang column ko the other day. Bago po tayo magsalita, mag-announce, let's do the proper research, and when everything is already on the table, then make the announcement. Anyway, at the top of the front page, teachers asking government or the DepEd to reconsider mandatory face-to-face classes kasi daw po masyadong maraming komplikasyon, masyadong maraming challenges at hindi pa talaga magiging smooth because in some cases there is an imposition for physical distancing. However, if you do physical distancing, then you will have to have more classes. Kumbaga, Section A, Section B lang, magiging C, D, E. Okay? Because you're going to have to break up the student numbers. You don't have more teachers. Okay. That photo at the top of the front page is a photo of Cowrie Island in Palawan. Okay? And that island, that is representative of the beautiful islands of Palawan and the Philippines that was once again voted as one or chosen as one of the 40 most beautiful countries by Condé Nast Traveler. Okay. And then below the main story, Pinay nurse gets UK award. Liliwanagin ko lang po, no? A Filipina nurse, okay, or a nurse of Filipina ancestry and origin, received the George Cross Medal from the Queen of England, Britain's Queen Elizabeth II, and Prince Charles. Okay, ni-receive po yan ni May Parsons on behalf of the National Health Service of the United Kingdom, representing all the nurses and healthcare workers. Kasi may mga nag-aakala po, there are some people who have been misinformed that it was the Filipina who got the award. Hindi po, no? She received the award on behalf of all the nurses, mostly Filipinas. Okay. The Philippines, among 40 most beautiful countries, sinabi na natin yan. And then, the Sri Lankan former president flees to Maldives. Okay, kasi nagkaroon na po ng civil unrest in Sri Lanka where they don't even, the government doesn't even have money to buy fuel. And their president has decided to resign, but before resigning, fled to the Maldives. Okay. Now, minimum age for HSW deployment raised to 24. Filipino household service workers younger than 24 can no longer seek employment abroad. Okay, according to the POEA. Okay, pinaganda no? Household service workers, parang health service workers. Okay, imbis na domestic, hindi na domestic, HSW na ang tawag. Okay, free train rides for students in the meantime are limited only to LRT2 that services the U-Belt. Kasi nagkakaroon na ng issue dahil yung iba gusto libre sa lahat ng train, PNR, MRT, etc., etc. But Malacanang apparently announced, or according to Transportation Undersecretary Cesar Chavez, the DOTR received an order from the President to offer free rides for students on LRT2 only. Meanwhile, President Bongbong Marcos is free of COVID symptoms. Mabuti naman po. Thank you, Lord, for answered prayers. And has no coughs, no fever, no nasal stuffiness and itchiness, and basically is now asymptomatic. Last but not the least, that photo on the bottom right of the Philippine Star is a photograph of the French ambassador Michelle Bocoq for after she gave or bestowed the French Legion of Honor, okay, to San Miguel Corporation President and CEO Ramon Ang for his philanthropic acts and representing SMC as well, and also for his efforts for promoting the relationship between the Philippines and France. Okay, yan na po. Let's now go to our topic for today, which interestingly was not on the front page of most papers, pero malaking storya po ito. Okay? The Commission on Higher Education has finally lifted the moratorium on new nursing programs. In other words, colleges, SUCs, etc. can once again offer nursing programs or courses in their educational facilities. Okay, and ito po ay matagal na. It has long been clamored for because there are many countries looking for health workers, especially from the Philippines. So today, we will have a couple of people to talk about this matter. Let's bring in our first guest and find out ano ba ang masasabi nila. Are they happy about this? And what are the things that the government and the educational institutions should be concerned with? Let's bring in our first guest through this introductory video.
Jocelyn Andamo, a community nurse, is also the Secretary General of Filipino Nurses United or FNU. FNU is one of the most vocal nursing groups in the country, advocating for the welfare of nurses and fighting for their rights. FNU also advocates for people's right to health.
Okay, good morning. Good day, Jocelyn. Welcome to the program agenda. I'm sure you already have a lot of things to say about the CHED decision to lift the moratorium on nursing courses.
Good morning, Sir Cito, and to your followers. Thank you for inviting me as the representative of Filipino Nurses United. Nung marinig po namin yung balita, actually worried kami. We are really worried because baka magka-problema na naman tayo. Imbis na nasusolusyonan natin ang mga nursing concerns and issues, meron tayong panibagong malaking problema. Bakit po? Kasi according to CHED po, ang basis po nila ng pag-lift ng moratorium ay sinabi raw po or perceived daw, perceived na kulang ng nurses. No? Sabi ng DOH ay kulang ng 200,000 nurses ang Pilipinas. Pero inaral pa ho namin yan last year pa. Yung statistics na present ng DOH, we also attended the hearing in Congress when we were talking about the ang justification sa deployment ban. Nung inaral po namin ang data na pinresent ng DOH, sinabi nila na kulang ng 200,000 ng nurses ang Pilipinas kasi sinabi nila yon dahil kung in-implement natin ang standard sa safe nurse to patient ratio. Pero kung titingnan po natin, hindi naman po yun ang realidad. So sa aming aral dun sa statistics ng DOH, hindi po tayo kulang ng nurses in terms of supply. So yun po ang gusto naming ilinaw. Ang Filipino Nurses United ay naninindigan na meron tayong sapat na nurses. In terms of supply, actually hindi po bababa sa 100,000 ang nurses natin na either unemployed, misemployed, or nasa non-nursing jobs. Ano po? Hindi po, tingin po namin hindi po solusyon itong pag-lift ng moratorium para magkaroon na naman ng bagong nursing schools. Kasi po ang katumbas na sinasabing nursing programs ay pagtatayo ng mga pag-open ng bagong mga nursing schools. We have enough schools. Actually, sabi ng CHED, hindi po bababa sa 300 yan. Either, kasi minsan yung data natin iba-iba. So, sometimes merong silang data na 333 nursing schools, meron din ho kaming nakitang 490 plus na almost 500 nursing schools. Wala pa naman tayo pong nabalitaan na ipinasara or or isinara, no po? Kasi yan din po ang isang gusto namin i-bring up, yung problema po natin sa regulation at pagsiguro na meron po tayong quality na nursing education para sigurado po tayo ng ating graduates ay masasabi natin na lahat ay competent. No po? Yes po.
Okay, Jocelyn, I'm surprised to hear that. Medyo nakakapagtaka kasi ang impression namin, ako sa media ng marami, maraming pinasarang nursing school dahil nga doon sa mga palpak or due to the many nursing graduates who failed to pass the regulatory examinations, yung PRC. Now you're saying na walang pinasara?
Yun po ang pagkalam namin at yan nga po ang naging reason, no? Dahil may difficulty po tayo sa siguro na kailangan isara kahit hindi naman qualified itong school na to. Kasi po medyo meron po kasing dynamics yan or nagpe-play po ang politics. Actually, siguro po magandang ma-recall, merong nabalitaan noon ng school mismo ng kamag-anak ng ating secretary ay may problema po, no, pero hindi nagawang isara. Alam niyo po yung problema natin sa mga ganon na kahit hindi na pumapasa sa requirements ng ating mga government agencies, hindi nagagalaw, ano po. So ito pong moratorium, isang nakakapag-alala at sinasabi nyo nga na malaking issue kasi baka mangyari na naman po yung mushrooming of nursing schools at alam naman po natin sa history na nagkaroon ng diploma mills. So ito pong ginawang pag-lift ng moratorium ay, sorry to say po, ay malamang pagtugon natin na naman sa demand ng world market. Pero ang maganda po sana, tingnan muna natin paano natin matugunan ang mismong problema po natin dito sa Pilipinas, paano natin matugunan ang health issues, health problems, health needs ng ating kapwa Pilipino.
Okay, pero there is no denying, Jocelyn, that so many Filipino nurses have quit their jobs locally and many have left the country even as tourists and then eventually got employed in other countries as nurses.
Yes.
Kumbaga, direct to employer na. So the exodus of nurses in the Philippines, we can't stop that for as long as people ay mag-o-offer ng magandang sweldo. Okay? And dito naman sa Pilipinas, sinasabi ng private hospitals, gustuhin man nila, even if they wanted to, they couldn't afford to be competitive because they are not even competitive against government hospitals in terms of salaries for nurses. So, kumbaga, zero talo on both sides. So, aalis ang nurses. So, that's what the government has posted its claim na we have a shortage. Now, you're saying walang shortage?
Opo. Nag-agree po kami doon sa sinasabi nyo na problema po natin talaga yung basic issues po, no, kalagayan ng nurses dito sa Pilipinas, although sa buong mundo talagang may shortage ng nurses. Pero po, kailangan nating tingnan, we have to start somewhere. Very basic po, napakababa ng sahod ng nurses at halos hindi na makatao ang kalagayan ng work conditions ng nurses. In fact, tayo po ang may pinakamababang sahod sa Southeast Asia. Pero sinasabi po natin, kaya yung FNU po ay nananawagan sa ating bagong pamahalaan na taasan ng 50,000 entry salary ng nurses, both sa public and private, para kahit paano, hindi man po natin maabot kung ano ang sinasahod ng nurses sa ibang bansa, at least mabuhay po ng mga nurses ang pamilya nila, masustain at masatisfy yung basic needs, lalo na ngayon sa economic crisis na may inflation, etc. po. No? Ang family living wage ay hindi na po umaabot ang sahod ng isang nurse. In fact po, sa private sector, na majority ng ating mga nurses na nandito sa Pilipinas more than half po ay nasa private sector. Sila po ay tumatanggap lang ng between 10,000 to sabihin natin 13,000 on the average per month. Ano po? So paano po natin mabubuhay?
Para hindi ba ninyo pinaimbestigahan yan? Kasi I remember a friend had to get a private nurse for her mother. Coming out of the hospital, sabi niya sa akin, magkano ba yun? Mahigit 1.5 a day yata ang singil sa kanila ng hospital para doon sa sa nurse na magche-check ng kanilang nanay or mag-aasikaso. And hindi yun 24 hours. Kumbaga, patingin-tingin yung bibisita during the day. So
ang private duty nurses po ay masasabi nating mataas po ang natatanggap nila, pero hindi po regular ang kanilang trabaho. Kaya kung meron po silang private patients, ang monthly income po nila ay hindi rin ganun kataas. Kaya po, isang problema din po namin yan, yung pagkakaroon ng security of tenure. On the average po sa national level, napakarami po ang mga nurses, ang bukod sa walang trabaho, walang makuhang decent employment, yung iba po ay contractuals. Like yung in-offer po ng DOH ng panahon ng pandemya ay contract of service lang po, 3 months. After 3 months, wala na po silang trabaho uli at walang sapat na benepisyo. Kung may benefits man, huling-huli at talagang paiyakan pa para makuha. Ang ibig po sabihin namin, on the national average, masasabi po natin, ang nurses ay mababa po ang tinatanggap, walang kasiguruhan sa trabaho.
But Jocelyn, that is one, kumbaga, ibang usapan yan. That is a valid concern. Yes. Dapat, it is something na dapat talagang asikasuhin ng pamahalaan, i-address ng ating legislators and ng inyong community. Pero kung pag-uusapan lang natin yung CHED program, ay may mga magsasabi naman sa inyo, teka, yan yung reality ninyo, pero kami gusto lang namin mag-aral, mag-nursing, and siguro kami, nag-nurse kami. Katulad isang scholar ko, sabi ko, pagbutihan mo anak at pagkatapos sumibat ka na. Sundan mo na yung isang pinapunta ko sa Ireland. I'm being transparent here kasi may mga magsasabi, katulad this program, this opening of program, this is just a degree or a course. Okay? Not necessarily a school. Now, why are you connecting schools? Meron ba talagang mga eskwelahan or schools that are dedicated solely to nursing? They only exist for nursing, teaching nursing?
Yun po munang issue nung sa education. Kung babalikan po kasi natin yung history, kaya po nagka-moratorium dyan ay hindi po na-regulate, no? And yung gobyerno mismo po ay nagsasabi na meron tayong problema dahil commercialized masyado ang nursing education.
Okay.
Na ang nangyari, nag-produce lang po ng maraming graduates. Ibig sabihin, naging negosyo po siya. Yung ating mga nurses na na-produce ay hindi nag-qualify, no? In fact po sa statistics ng government, ang nursing profession po ang pinakababa sa passing rate. Ang data po natin,
sino ang may kasalanan doon? Kasi obviously una mong sisisihin yung eskwelahan. Pero at the end of the day, kung makalusot man, nakapasa sila sa eskwelahan kasi may mga passing grade sila. Ay yung pala, ang baba naman pala nung passing grade, nakalusot sila. Pero sa PRC, hindi sila nakalusot, correct?
Sa regulating agencies po natin ng edukasyon po, ang mahalagang papel po sana dito. No? Kung napakarami po ng ating eskwelahan at bukod po doon kung merong kahinaan sa enforcement ng ating mga batas o regulations, yun po ang magiging problema natin.
What can the CHED and the PRC do? Kasi sasabihin naman sa atin ni CHED, Popoy de Vera, Cito, sinara nga namin. Nung sinara namin, kami ginera, kami inaway. So ngayon, we are under pressure to open up these courses again. What would your group, the Filipino Nurses United, recommend that these regulatory bodies do?
Siguro po kailangan i-enforce natin yung mga basic halimbawa po meron ho kasi tayong problema doon sa pagsisiguro ng kalidad ng edukasyon. Una po, sa kasalukuyan, napakarami pong estudyante pero kulang po ang faculty. Ngayon po, hindi pa tayo nag-open ng mga nursing schools. Wala pa pong lifting ng moratorium. Meron na pong pagtaas ng enrollees. Pero hindi naman po tayo nagdagdag ng nursing faculty. Marami pong nurses ang qualified, pero hindi po na-employ. Tapos hindi po nagdadagdag ng sahod. Magkano lang ang tinatanggap nila. Ang ginagawa pa po ng ibang school, para makatipid, halimbawa po, dalawang klase. No? Dalawang klase po ipag-merge nila sa isang faculty. So, kawawa ang faculty, ang nurse na nagtuturo, hindi na po siya halos natutulog dahil po sa preparation ng kanyang klase, sa kanyang pag-check ng kanyang mga exams na ginawa at paano niya i-evaluate ang lahat ng estudyante na under niya.
Ano bang dapat na ratio, Jocelyn? What is the correct ratio or your suggested ratio of students versus faculty?
Kasi sa nursing education po, we have lecture set up na po at meron din po tayo sa clinical experience. Sa clinical po, we have hospital and we have community and we have special areas. So, iba-iba po ang supposedly ratio niyan. Kung sa classroom po, lalo na kung face-to-face sana, yung 20 to 25 sana po, no? Pero yan po umaabot ng 50 o 40, 50, 60 students sa isang faculty o sa isang nurse educator. Sa clinical area, dapat 12 students po.
Yung kalidad, okay, 20. So napag-usapan natin yung ratio. Yung kalidad naman ng magtuturo. Saan ba nahahanap, nakukuha itong mga, where do these nursing schools get their teachers?
Supposedly po, ang mga nurse educators po natin, meron pong kumbaga nagawa ng qualifications na po ang pamahalaan. Sorry po. Na dapat meron silang educational attainment na naabot, yung master's degree at saka yung experience. So, in reality po, hindi po yan nasusunod. In either yung educational attainment, marami na pong nakapagtapos ng masteral dahil hindi na po sila nagpunta sa clinical area. Pero kamusta halimbawa, yung experience naman po, hindi
walang working experience. Kumbaga, katulad ng
puro,
panahon namin, marami nagtuturo ng broadcasting and journalism pero hindi nagkaroon ng experience sa loob ng
po yan.
kumpanya.
Yung pong mga ganong very vital issues na dapat po na-address natin.
Okay, Jocelyn, let's go.
Sa clinical area.
Let's go for a quick break at tayo ay sasabayan ng pangalawang bisita. A second guest will be joining us. We'll go for a quick break and then we'll continue this discussion here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. And just so you can all catch up, the Commission on Higher Education has lifted the moratorium on the education or the enrollment of nurses. Kumbaga, bukas na ulit yung pag-enroll ng nursing students sa maraming lugar. Okay, and based on what is available to me here from our research team in Agenda, the CHED listed the following regions which universities are encouraged to apply to open new nursing programs. These are Mimaropa, Eastern Visayas, Caraga, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, the Cordillera Administrative Region, and Soc Sargent. High priority is being given to the Calabarzon, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal, and Quezon Region, Western Visayas, Bicol Region, Davao Region, Cagayan Valley, and Central Luzon. In other words, halos lahat ng areas na merong mga colleges and university with nursing programs are being encouraged to apply for reopening or registration with the CHED. Now, we have with us the Secretary General of the Filipino Nurses United, Jocelyn Andamo. Andiamo, sorry. Naging Italiana bigla. No? Sorry, Jocelyn. Andamo. Okay?
Andamo
Kasi sorry, may naalalang Italiana. No? Anyway, Jocelyn, going back sa pinag-usapan, you mentioned na as far as what you see on the ground, there is no shortage of nurses. Nurses' conditions are very sad, okay, deplorable. The universities, colleges should limit nursing classes to 25 students to one teacher, and that the work experience, actual work experience ng mga magtuturo sa mga nursing programs is established kasi maraming chairperson lang, okay, ika nga, nag-aral sa mesa, pero hindi sa hospital. Okay, so what other suggestions do you have? Kasi mukhang there's no stopping this kasi under pressure na rin ang CHED, market pressure and political pressure.
Correct po. Yung experience mismo po ng ating mga nursing students because minsan po hindi na po provide ng mga schools ang sapat na karanasan bago sila mag-graduate. Ibig po sabihin nito, dapat may sapat na pasilidad, equipment na kailangan. Yun po mga nursing laboratories na tinatawag po namin, yung para magkaroon ng simulation na environment, no, na pupuntahan nila pagka-graduate. At yung mismo pong mga ospital at komunidad na pupuntahan po nila. Kasi isang problema po ay kumbaga, walang sapat na kagamitan sa eskwelahan, pero sapat naman yung binabayad nila. O kaya hindi po sapat yung oras at araw na dapat exposure nila sa isang clinical area. Kaya marami po kaming na-encounter noon, halimbawa, na dapat meron silang mga gamit, pero walang gamit sa school. Sasabihin, imagine niyo na lang na nandito yung pasyente, o imagine niyo na lang na nandito yung gamit, nandito yung makina. So parang ganun. So sabi nila, kailangan daw maging creative, maging imaginative yung estudyante, pero hindi na po provide ng eskwela ang sapat, ang dapat, ang accurate.
At lahat yan ay dapat inspeksyonin ng mahigpit ng CHED.
At maraming eskwelahan, lalo na yung mga fly-by-night ay wala. At kahit staff po na kulang sa faculty, at noon po nagkaroon pa ng flying deans kung tawagin. Sir Cito, yung flying deans, sa dami po ng eskwelahan, hindi sapat ang nursing administrators. Nandyan lang po siya once a month, twice a month. lumilipat siya ng mga eskwelahan, pero
Ah,
pinapasahod siya ng mga eskwelahan na ito o kaya ang mga eskwelahan na gumagastos ng malaki para makakuha lang ng so-called recognition or
okay.
accreditation pero
Okay.
hindi nila na-fulfill ang mga requirements. Ayan po
Kumbaga,
ang ayaw nating mangyari ulit.
kumbaga, binabayaran sila para magamit yung kanyang pangalan doon sa mga submissions para lumabas na compliant yung
Opo,
eskwelahan.
Sir Cito,
Anyway, okay.
nakakarimarim ang mga experiences natin
Okay.
before.
Marami kang contribute this morning, Ma'am Jocelyn, and thank you for your time with us.
Thank you
Hayaan
so
mo,
much.
babantayan natin ito kasi sabi ko nga sa'yo, dalawa na yung pinaaral ko ng nursing,
Opo.
magkakagulo pag ito ay nababoy dahil sa kapabayaan. Okay, thank you very
Sana
much.
po maging community-oriented and responsive ang ating nursing education.
Okay, thank you very much, Jocelyn Andamo. Now,
Thank
let's
you
go
so
to
much.
our next guest. We have with us Congresswoman, former Secretary of Health and Health Advocate, none other than, sabihin ko ba? Kasi baka sabihin, nag-name dropping ako eh. My friend, Congresswoman Janette Garin. Congresswoman Garin, are you with us? Good morning.
Good morning, Cito. Good morning to all your viewers. Good morning sa lahat ng nating mga kaibigan.
Mag-iingat na ako kasi magsabing my friend kasi baka sabihin ng tao, masyado ka mayabang. Pero may pinagsamahan naman po tayo nung kayo ay Secretary of Health. I have seen your dedication, yung tapang ninyo. Now, regarding the situation, regarding the reopening of nursing schools programs, what are your thoughts on this, Congresswoman?
The pandemic actually created a demand na kung dati-rati ang dami-daming nurses, ngayon medyo kinukulang tayo. Especially with the many programs of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. No? Akala kasi nung iba nasa DOH lang or nasa health matters, hospitals, pero ang dami na rin public health nurses that medyo naging demand na siya ngayon. Be that as it may, importante lang talaga na maalagaan yung quality of nurses that we have. Kasi tama po yung nasabi kanina ni Ma'am, nag-mushroom ng maraming nursing schools. And mind you, I was surprised to see the initial report, yung nangyari kasi, di ba, parang hinold. I think I saw like 18 schools who had 0 passing percentage. Masakit yon. Kung ilang taon walang pumapasa sa board exam, something is wrong with the system, with the educational system. Yung pala, marami dun yung parang online lang, wala na nag-oversee. So we have to balance business and the quality of nurses that we are producing.
Okay, now how do we address the concern raised by Jocelyn Andamo regarding itong mga fly-by-night deans or flying deans, hindi nga fly-by-night, flying deans who are deans on call for different schools para lang lumabas compliant yung school na yan, that they have an administrator, they have a dean, and then imaginatory laboratory experience. Because as I mentioned, I had one male nurse na tinulungan namin. He went to nursing school. He took the exams on the year that there were so many fails and nagkaroon ng scandal na may leakages. And for 3 consecutive years, he had to take the test and work unpaid in some hospitals. Kumbaga, we discovered that his weakness was not the theoretical, it was the applied. Kumbaga, so how do you address those shortcomings?
Medical and paramedical courses would have actual experience. Kaya nga ando dun yung mga internship, andun yung mga exposure. So if we notice, like as early as first year, they're exposed to the hospitals. Meron silang what we call, para siyang practicum eh. And there's really mentorship because iba yung nababasa mo sa libro, iba naman yung nakikita mo sa actual. And you develop them to have that clinical eye, that intuition in working as nurses. Ito yung nawala nung nagkaroon nga ng ibang curriculum that was mostly online. I believe the solution there is for CHED to aggressively see to it that licenses for nursing schools and the structure of these schools are thoroughly followed. Kasi andun din yung need for an affiliated hospital or an affiliated health institution. That's very important. And we cannot just allow mushrooming of nursing schools because there's a demand, because we also have to look at the quality.
Yeah, but here's the problem, Congresswoman, because I remember there was a time when even broadcast or TV stations would charge interns to become interns in their companies, and that became controversial. And in the case of nursing students, who pays who for the internship? Kasi pag magtuturo ka naman sa hospital mo, may pasyente ka, meron ka pang bit-bit na intern. I mean, it's a burden to the hospital, to the doctors. How do we go about it to ensure that the student intern gets to learn, the hospital isn't burdened, and the school is responsible?
Well, that's why there are service cases in private hospitals. Yung service case, hindi naman sinasabi na pinag-aaralan sila. No, it's not true. But then, may konting patience lang yon kasi andudun yung nurse, andudun din yung kanyang mga students. No? And then they get to see the actual picture. They can actually observe from a distance. They can observe from a distance kasi pag lumalapit naman yung makikita mo kasi yung actual work ng nurse, and then slowly they will be made to assist. And we are not just talking about hospitals. We have a lot of rural health centers. Like even our vaccination programs, the nursing students can be used there. Especially when you interview patients, when you get medical data, you're just like observing sterility. Observing the hygiene, and daming pwede. And they can also observe nurses who are conducting public health lectures. Kasi iba yung nagsasalita ka na wala ka talagang alam sa medisina, and we cannot consume all the doctors to do this task. So it can be a partnership. And in fact, in DSWD, we have the 4Ps, we have a lot of social services, we have a lot of assistance being given. Sometimes it's difficult for a social worker to just assess the situation plainly. The social worker can tandem with a nurse. So itong mga situation na ito, the other interns can have their public health exposure in that aspect. Pero mahirap talaga kung kunyari ipapadala mo sila sa kumpanya because they really won't learn things that they should be learning. They won't be equipped with that knowledge that they can carry, especially when they take the board exams.
Do students pay for this internship program, and are there actual program requirements for practical observation or exposure per year?
I believe so. I'm more familiar with the med techs because I'm a licensed medical technologist, and especially for the doctors. The nurses, I believe it's the same setup. And yes, they pay for internship. Yan nga that was basically my comment before. No? Masyadong masakit yung dati na napakamahal ng tuition. Ang laki-laki ng binabayaran. But the value for their money in terms of quality education, it was not commensurate to how much the nursing students were paying.
Okay, so how do we remedy that situation? I mean, tama naman. You're very correct in pointing out that there are level 1 health facilities, there are 4P individuals who could benefit from medical attention, even yung pagkuha lang ng data sa mga pasyente. Those are, ika nga, at every year level, we can stipulate at what kind of exposure and what direct activity they can do. Kasi I'm a frustrated veterinarian. So as a result, nag-seminar na lang ako, and then natuto na ako about how to handle pigs, etc. Now, same thing with nursing, I suppose. But how do you address that issue about cost? Kasi mahal. When I did the study for our most recent scholar, if I had sent her to one of the better private schools, it would have cost us 1.3 million, if I'm not mistaken, for 4 years. And still, I said, okay, let's send her to the State University na lang in Batangas, BSU, as recommended to me by doctors. It would still cost us over 500,000 over 4 years. That's not easy for a student whose parent is just a security guard, a farmer, etc.
That's very true, and that's why ang nangyari kasi during those times, the demand was huge. Other countries were really Filipino nurses was a demand, especially for other countries, especially for US and areas in Europe. And that's why there were some sectors who took advantage and charged a lot. But I think that subsided, no? Especially so when the enrollment went down, bumaba na, marami rin yung nagbaba na, yung mga unnecessary expenses na wala rin. But all of this could actually be resolved by a strong CHED leadership. Whoever the manager of the Commission on Higher Education will be, it's very important that they police institutions educating our children, our kababayans. You know, if you talk about licensing the school, syempre dapat alam mo yung structure. Alam mo kung fly-by-night ba yan or flying beans ba yan. And then you also have to look at the percentage of board passers in that school. So kung walang pumapasa, meaning it's purely business.
Wala bang pecuniary ba tawag doon? Pecuniary penalty? Kumbaga, is there no financial penalty for schools and universities who fail to even have one student pass? Kasi I mean, you know, kung maka 50% ka lang, okay, sige, ganun talaga buhay. Pero kung no one passed, ang problema eskwelahan na, shouldn't they be required to, or refund mo lahat yan at magbayad ka ng multa?
Well, there's no such arrangement because they can always say, hindi, problema nung bata. No? But then, there's no financial penalty directly, no? But CHED can actually revoke the license of that institution.
Yeah, but the damage is done already, Madam Congresswoman. Pwede mo bang gawing batas yan na failure to deliver on what was expected of this educational institution should result in refunding of all the enrollees and penalties be imposed? Kasi parang kumita sila, nawalan nga silang license pero kumita na sila.
Well, that can really be looked into. Kaya nga to resolve that impasse, if you remember, Cito, when I was in DOH for a very short tenure of 1 year, nakita natin kasi sayang rin eh. I mean, we had for every board exam, 60% or 40% would pass, 40 to 60%. And then you have nursing graduates who have not passed the board exam. Sayang, because they have the knowledge and the technical capacity. That also goes with doctors. So we actually created, if you remember, the public health assistants and the universal healthcare implementers. These are positions in the Department of Health that were given to regional offices. Unfortunately, yung tasking naman nila sa region, yun yung medyo kinulang. Kasi yung iba, ginawa lang silang utusan sa office instead of sending them out. So these were our graduates, non-board passers, but were being given the opportunity to have a hands-on job to prepare them for retaking the board exam.
Well, that
was quite successful.
Yeah, that's what happened to one of my scholars, yung parang pamangkin ko na nga yan, who's now in Ireland. He's actually Northern Ireland working as a nurse. Now, quick question before we go to the other topic kasi talagang nabusan ako ng oras sa Congresswoman. Is there any possibility for us to come up with a system where students can apply for scholarship or government funding? Parang sa UP, you scholar ka ng bayan, you take up the course, you graduate, and then we export you. We export you to UK, America, whatever, and you pay us back.
Yeah, that has actually been in the pipeline. In fact, we have the medical scholarships also. Unfortunately, the pandemic made the government tighten its belt. No, even us, no, even Filipinos, medyo naging mahirap, especially now that the virus is here to stay with us. So prioritization. But I actually had a proposal before when I was still in Congress. We tried to strengthen this when I was in the Department of Health. Maybe now that I'm back in Congress, I can revisit that. This was the mutual reciprocity agreement. Like, if we send nurses to UK has DFID. It's yun yung kanilang departamento na nagbibigay ng mga tulong sa mga bansang mahihirap. But that can actually be utilized for every nurse or doctor or physical therapist or medical technologist that they hire. They will not really compensate, but they will give an aid to the government that can be spent to pay for the tuition or to have a scholarship fund.
A scholarship.
Oo. Kasi meron silang ganun eh. Maganda lang yan. That can actually be a good proposal that the DFA and Congress can work together, even the DOH.
Okay. I do hope that happens. So, quick shift of topic, Congresswoman. Yun nga eh. Yung mga pinagsamahan natin, puro gera eh, no? Yung 1 year mo sa DOH, tapos itong dengue. And there is now a call for the restudying dengue. I have been talking about that. Where's the research? My daughter has been vaccinated with that. The 700,000 of them, but no one came up with the results. And now, what is your position regarding the vaccine Dengvaxia?
Well, Cito, that's true. No? When you implement something, there's supposed to be a concurrent study. But what happened in the Philippines, my successor stopped that. So pinahinto, hindi na inallow. The people doing the monitoring and surveillance were dismantled, assigned to many other areas. So nakakalungkot because that data could have shown us one of our permanent solutions against dengue. However, it's good that the other countries who implemented the program are sharing their information with us. So we are seeing very good results with Mexico, Brazil, I believe even Thailand. What is my take for the return of the CPR of Dengvaxia? Well, I don't, people might say I'm biased, pero sa totoo lang, it was illegally revoked eh. Because a CPR is a certificate of product registration, which means the safety and efficacy of a medicine, vaccine, or commodity has been proven. So when you revoke that, there is a certain process that should be followed, and there are reasons to do such. In the case of Dengvaxia, the CPR was revoked simply, but in fairness to FDA, they were very clear in saying it was not a question of safety and efficacy. It was some admin matters, which was actually public pressure. Lalo na nung parang talagang may iba na yung naging career na lang nila was to really force FDA to revoke the license, or else they will have cases.
Okay. But facing all of this now, plus the experience of Singapore, of Thailand, of Malaysia, I think, that it is very effective and useful. What will the process now entail to get Dengvaxia as an option, as a personal option of families who want the vaccine?
The FDA should have to reissue its CPR or its license. Cito, I'm not sure about this. I just heard this last night, no? At medyo nakakapangabanga kasi we've just learned that the company, Pasteur, doesn't want to reapply. Parang for them is we're good making the vaccines for 23 countries and other countries that are coming into the pipeline, but for the Philippines, we're not interested. We're hearing that. So I am not sure if that is true or not. That's for them to, well, we cannot blame them kasi nga sa Pilipinas na yung pinakamura nilang binigay na presyo ng bakuna, and then nagkagulo-gulo pa, and scientists and experts also didn't want to have the same experience again. It's a sad thing for the Philippine public health care. However, the global community can actually compel them to stand by their obligation and reapply for their license.
Kumbaga it will now go in terms of diplomatic pressure and pakiusapan na.
Yes. Kasi parang ang message is, ano na lang, maglinis-linis na lang kayo. Hindi nyo na kailangan yung bakuna. No,
actually, you're being
Health
polite. I think as far as the French are concerned, ayaw nyo diwag.
But the problem, Cito, is that as even way back in 2010 and 2012, WHO and even the Department of Health and the whole world has agreed, 2 dekada na tayong linis, fogging. That's why I was surprised when the Department of Health, I think during the time it was Dr. Beverly Ho, came out and said, we were very successful. We were very effective in curbing dengue even without the vaccine. But that was different. Siyempre, pandemic, yung tao hindi nagpapatest, yung tao walang school. And the schools were actually the petri dishes for the rapid spread of dengue. But now the truth has come out. People are dying. We have a 90% spike in dengue. And these are just the people who are symptomatic. Kasi in dengue, 80% are asymptomatic. Hindi mo alam, nagka-dengue ka na pala.
So, so much remains to be seen, and I'm sure I will be speaking with you again on this subject matter. I do hope that this situation is remedied, and I'm looking forward on a positive note to hear if you can work out something with the United Kingdom or the Brits regarding a scholarship program for our nurses, na kung hindi man natin sila mapigilan, magpaaral naman sila ng mga naiwanan. Okay? Thank you very much,
Yes.
Congresswoman.
Thank you very much, Cito. Stay safe. And sa mga kababayan natin, marami ang dengue ngayon. And dengue, pag natamaan ka, you will be very prone to COVID. So dahil walang bakuna pa yung dengue, siguraduhin magpabakuna against COVID. Take your booster shot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now let's go to our blessing for the week. And it comes from Genesis chapter 49, verse 25. May the God of your father help you. May the Almighty bless you with the blessings of the heavens above and the blessings of the watery depths below and blessings of the breasts and the womb. May God bless all of you, bless our guests, and bless our nation and our leaders. Thank you. Please keep it here on One News PH.